Hello, fellow gamers. Welcome. Um, welcome to the loneliest, most desolate, definitely the coldest place on earth. Um, at least I get to play a lot of games. Uh, we're back to not for broadcast, a game that I really do enjoy playing. I think I played it for 3 sessions. The last broadcast was really weird. I guess he was having like some kind of a fever dream where the malfunctioning kid's toy was like taking over the world. It was really odd. I wasn't even sure if it was really real or not. I thought maybe the game just took like this really weird turn, but it ended up being just a dream, or a nightmare. So we'll see where this game is gonna go to next. Let me just adjust the camera here real quick. Alright, now we're ready to go. Maybe I should just hit Rude Awakening. We'll probably do a couple of broadcasts here. Day 153. Wow. A Rude Awakening. Current wealth starting to get rich. The rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor brings you slowly back to consciousness. Opening your eyes, you're greeted by a semicircle of concerned faces. So you were in the hospital when you were having that crazy dream. Oh, nightmare. Your family by your side. A reassuringly familiar sight in these new surroundings. You blink a few times to clear the sleep from your eyes and bring everyone into focus. Looking up, oh no, Sam's there. Sam's face is a mixture of concern and frustration. Things haven't been great between you two lately, and Chris hasn't been helping things. Looming at Sam's shoulder with a sour expression, it's clear there's still no love lost between the two of you. While Sam clearly is worried about you, the family scowl is obvious on both of their faces. I can't believe I've just woken up to the gruesome twosome. Let me say that. Because if she was she or he, I guess maybe that's why they use the name Sam, so you can just imagine it to be a male or a female, because it's ambiguous. And then whenever they refer to Sam, I think they always refer to Sam as they. So I can't believe I've just woken up to the gruesome twosome. Alex, that's not... Sam starts to protest, but as always, Chris butts in. No, it's fine, Sam. I don't know why I bothered coming here. Well, yeah, you shouldn't have. I'll see you all later, Alex. Chris spits as they leave. But I don't know why Chris is a they. Sam sighs, shaking their head before following Chris out, calling after them. Susie is standing next to Sam, her face a picture of anxiety. So maybe in our playthrough we'll just refer to Sam as a male. So maybe I can say Sam sighs, shaking his head before following Chris out. You can see Sam's worry on your daughter's face, but it quickly turns into a frown when she notices you looking at her. See, I mean, when you're talking to the daughter, well, I guess they say it's a daughter instead of a son, so I guess they have to say she. I'm glad you're okay. It's muttered more than said. A grudging acknowledgement that, despite your recent differences, she still cares. Thanks for coming, you groan back playfully. Susie can't help but smile back at you, rolling her eyes good-naturedly. It's great to have her here. Charlie catches your eye as he fidgets with the edge of the blanket. You cock your head and look at him, one eyebrow raised questioningly. As soon as you turn to look at him, you can see Charlie tense up. He's clearly battling hard to stay mad at you. You look expectantly at him, but he refuses to meet your gaze. Why are they mad at me? They're mad at me for being sick, I guess. Maybe. Hey, I'm gonna be fine. We'll be fighting again before you... we're fighting with everybody, apparently. Well, if you won't make an effort now, why should you? With Charlie continuing to sulk, the conversation seems to dry up. As the silence drags on, you notice your mother staring listlessly out the window. Despite all of your best efforts, she's not been doing well lately. Are you okay, Mom? Your mother starts. Your call clearly shocking her out of her reverie. She turns to you and smiles, and you're grateful to see the increasingly rare recognition in her eyes. Yes, dear, of course. How are you feeling? You smile warmly and nod. But before you can respond, a doctor bustles in and ushers everyone out. She asks you, for what feels like the 100th time, how you're feeling. Surprisingly well, all things considered. Excellent. There's no sign of any real damage. Just a bit of a shock to the old system. Pardon the pun. She smiles. Not that we'd recommend you do anything like that again. And what is that I did? Of course. After a couple of days rest at home, you should feel right as rain. She turns to leave, but stops at the door. Oh, and the private room and care. The doctor gestures to your room, which you now notice looks rather expensive. Has all been paid for by a Mr. Bozeman? He left those flowers and said not to worry and to take the rest of the week off. He'll see you Monday, apparently. That's our boss. Seems like the least he could do. So what happened? So was the invasion real? It wasn't even a dream? Was that real? The toy invasion? A burden to bear? You come home from a particularly late shift to find the kitchen light still on, which isn't normally a good sign. Everyone's usually in bed now. Softly opening the kitchen door, you find Sam sat at the table. Bills and papers are strewn in front of them, but we're starting to get rich, as well as what looks to be their second pack of biscuits. They shoot you a strange smile as you take a seat next to them. Sam frowns and goes back to the bill he's holding. Hey, sweetheart, just looking at the numbers again. He looks to the door to the pantry, now converted into your mother's bedroom. We've been doing our best, but I think Cassandra really needs a nurse to look after her now. Suddenly the bills are all you can see. $3,000 here, $2,000 there. Fortunately, with the money that's been coming in and what we've been able to save, we've got more than enough to keep going. Sam smiles at you. I know things have been difficult and the daily care won't be cheap, but she's your mother. We have to really, don't we? You gratefully smile back. Of course, you'll pay for the extra care your mother needs. Your mother hasn't been herself for a long time. Maybe it's time to consider the other option. Oh, is this... So, did I go past that section, the nightmare section, and then into... No, because that happened during the nightmare section with the bears and stuff. That happened during that interview when they were introducing that new program where you can kill off all people, right? Oh, these are the options. I thought it was part of the text. So maybe it's time to consider other option. I mean, she's not really there. Sam seems somewhat taken aback. Well, she's your mother, Alex. I can't tell you what to do, but I don't think it's what she would want. He hesitates before continuing. But then maybe he would. Maybe she would. She hasn't been her old self for so long. I don't know. It's up to you. If someone helped Alzheimer, you know, or they don't know who they are anymore. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're lucid. I don't know if that's a good way to live, you know. This isn't how she'd want her final years to be if she was still herself. Tomorrow, you'll need to tell the kids, and then book an appointment at the transition center, or that's what they call it. What else could you have done? So, did that really happen, the invasion? Because at the end of that, I need to watch my playthrough again. That's why I actually love the idea of recording and archiving all of my playthroughs, or all of my gaming activities, because I can always go back. If I forget something, I'll just go back. And it's always going to be there. So, it's just pretty cool. What else could you have done? And that's the problem sometimes when you stop playing a game for a couple of days, Don't even remember what happened last time. Because I started playing other games, that's the problem. I just need to know if if that nightmare was real or not. I'll check it out later. Maybe he was just hallucinating the bear part, but everything else, is real. Oh no. Get this going. Turn that on.
Problem? I want her fired today, now.
Don't worry, Cat, it'll be alright.
No, it won't be alright, Cat. Pack up your weapons of optical destruction and get out.
You realise I'm going to sound...
I mean it, Cat. Stay where you are. Don't make this Jen's decision, Jeremy. All yours.
Alright, I'll talk to both.
Oh, good. You can tell him I'll return his wife's casserole dish at our dinner next week. Jenny? I'm sorry, Kat. You're going to have to leave.
What? Who's that woman? God.
She nearly blinded me.
10 seconds, everybody. I don't team these days.
Things are better, Jeremy, you know that. Just stop being so high and mighty and do your job.
4, you'll have me fired
3. Don't tempt me. Good evening. I'm Megan Wolf.
And I'm Jeremy Jones. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council has agreed today to impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions, which are broad-ranging, include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing, and even some medicines. But how should we react? We asked the public.
What are your reactions to the sanctions?
What the fucking hell is this? My morning's into it.
Oh, God.
We're supposed to get a transition. What's the government doing about it?
Thanks, Patrick. Fascinating stuff.
Popular Prime Minister Julia Salisbury has released a reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We are a democratically elected government with massive popular support. We do not recognise these sanctions, and we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck fear into the heart of the international community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many. And whilst I wish we could improve other countries as much as we have our own, we do not rely on the help of others to thrive. This country is entirely self-sufficient. We are a team, now more than ever. And this team is on your side. Thank you.
Defiant stuff. But what do you, the public, think of our government's stance? Robin Shaw found out.
Hi there. Robin Shaw, National Nightly News. I was wondering if I could get your thoughts on the current government.
I'm not really very interested in politics, really. As Mother always said, leave politics to the politicians, Malcolm.
A whole lot of problems. Protests were held today at the controversial construction site for Remington Smith's physics-defying moves project. Since digging straight through the earth began 6 months ago, the project has been beset by problems, including localized tremors and the heat deaths of many of the workforce.
Residents of the nearby town of Calamity today converged on the construction site with sincere, if misspelled, placards, demanding a suspension of digging until safety checks can be carried out.
Of course, that's half a world away. But what does this country think? Patrick?
What's your opinion of the Moves project?
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. What's to stop it, right? Dropping out the other end and just falling forever.
Gravity? No, don't do gravity. Oh yeah.
A momentary lapse of reason. Commuters across the capital found themselves somewhat bemused by the latest stunt by a controversial protest group was done.
In a baffling start to the day, commuters found performers outside every major station, all dressed and posed identically. Whether we're supposed to be amused or intimidated is anybody's guess, Jeremy, but most commuters didn't even stop to notice.
Well, as long as it's not some grand contemporary dance, it's probably harmless.
But how do we all feel about Disrupt and their eclectic tactics? Robin found out.
Can I ask your opinions on Disrupt?
Are those the guys in black with the orange fist thing?
That's right.
Can I be honest?
Of course. This is journalism.
They scare me a bit.
Bubbling up, intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and Dr. Ingrid Scoresborg of Hawkins today sent a blueprint of the escape craft in which they hope to finally leave Dante's taint.
With expert opinions of the plan running the gamut from optimistically engineered to that looks like something my granddad made in his shed, it sounds like the unfortunate team are going to need all the thoughts and prayers they can get.
So what should we think about the escape plan? Patrick Bannon again.
Dare I ask you about the blueprints?
Well, mate, I've never been a submarine engineer, but I've tinkered with a few motors in my time, and I can tell you that thing is not going to work. I'd rather trust my life to Uncle Pat, and I murdered him 10 years ago.
Oh, what? It's because you're joking. It's funny.
I am not a number. Applications finally open today for the new Advanced Team Membership Cards, a scheme by the government to allow fast access to all the new public services being introduced daily.
The team membership cards are entirely voluntary, but will be recognised as legal identification by all major organisations, including the police, banks, and, rightfully, Thomson Glass.
And of course, there's no charge, Jeremy.
It all seems too good to be true.
Well, you've always been a cynic. But most importantly, what should you, the public, think about the new team membership cards?
Team membership cards.
Oh yeah, fantastic. I'm applying today. I mean, why wouldn't you? What are these protesters doing? They don't want us to know who their names are. Besides, have you seen the savings you can get? I'm getting one for the little one as well.
Oh, how adorable.
Yeah, it'll be a fun little team, won't you? Yes, he smiles. He smiles.
And finally tonight, getting stuck in a shameless attempt to cash in on his bad boy status, Shane celebrity Johnny Hamsleys announced a new line of real ale at a press conference earlier today.
The new brew, entitled Headbutt Ale, in reference to his controversies of last year, promises a night you'll pretend you regret.
Or possibly a night you'll pretend you remember.
So what should we all think of Johnny's latest attempt to market his notoriety? Patrick?
Disgusting.
Wise words there.
Later tonight, in a bit of a switcheroo, it'll be Jeremy in the culture chair, spitting rhymes with popular rapper Jay Sus. And then we'll both be chatting with a familiar team of thespians set to take the nation by storm again.
That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Wait, what? Oh shit. I heard the siren. I thought it was something else.
First tonight, thankfully, some news as we return to our main story.
The World Council today agreed that punitive and potentially illegal sanctions should be imposed upon this country. The sanctions, which come into effect immediately, aim to stop the flow of food, fuel, and even some medicines from reaching our pockets.
Tonight, we have guests from across the continent to discuss this unprecedented situation. For advance, Peter Clement is at his home in Lambertshire. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
A momentous day, Prime Minister. Are you shaken?
No, I don't scare that easy, I'm afraid, old son. And neither do the people of this country.
Well, joining us is Ivan Vodovich, Foreign Minister of Urkistan. Ivan, thank you for being here.
Great pleasure. You, Megan Wolf,
are like strongest guard of labour camp who wake up inside body of crazy, expensive prostitute. In my country, you will be worshipped as a god.
Okay.
Minister, as one of those arguing most strongly for these sanctions, how do you feel about advances to fine stats?
Advances like man who think he has a big career in movie slang. When actually, he in dirty sanitarium, screaming at me and holding tiny penis in hand.
He's clearly not from Svenland then. We have like some of the cleanest mental health facilities in the continent, yeah.
And welcome to Svenland's Minister of Mojo, Björk. I'm sorry, we don't appear to have a surname.
It's just Björk, yeah. We don't use things like socially divisive surnames.
Minister?
It's just Björk, yeah.
Right, Björk. Your country spoke in favour of advance at the World Council today, but you were noticeably absent when it came to the actual vote.
Well, what a surprise. The hippies didn't show up for the fight.
Actually, that's quite racist, because if you must know, we were going to go to the whole like vote thing, yeah. But it's actually the festival of the Eurolands here at the moment, where we honor the old generations. So like we all have to look our grandparents clean, yeah, while the vote was happening, and that's like a really time-consuming process, actually.
You're like sissy man. You have this expression, sissy man. It's like man with tiny penis who like to wash more than once a week.
Actually, that's quite homophobic, yeah.
Oh, stop winding him up, Ivan. We're not back at the Grange now. Sorry, Jeremy. Ivan and I used to play golf back in my media days.
He always win.
Nothing gives him greater pleasure than grinding people's gears, and more publicly, the better.
Peter, you're like man with tiny penis who think he has tiny penis, but actually he discovered that. Oh, could it be? No, it's tiny penis.
Ivan's just worried that when the rest of us all sees how well we're doing, they'll notice over at Dosh that he's got squirreled away. Because that's what these sanctions are, Megan. They're the last pathetic gasp of an establishment in collapse. Wolves at the gate, Ivan, old mate.
Good. They can join others on my wall.
Actually, in Svenland, we have like serious animal welfare legislation. And like my friend Helga, she got arrested yeah, for killing a butterfly that was hovering over her field thing. I mean, English jam sandwich.
I just know a girl called Jerry Sandwich. You're a right cracker too. What became of her?
We seem to be wandering a little from the news here.
Human interest, Jeremy. The real people behind the headlines and all that. So if you're watching, Jan, give us a call. Yeah. Let's see if we can't organise a reunion.
Crash, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to run it past Mrs. Clement first, yeah?
You're like man trying to empty ashes of her mistresses into oncoming wind. Soon you have tiny penis and beard full of secrets.
In Svenland, we don't really go into all that restrictive monogamy stuff. You know? We're kind of flawed, actually.
Okay. Well, it seems that we are running out of time.
Yes, so before we go to the break, briefly, if you would, gentlemen, with the people of this country facing shortages and
Possible shortages and power outages.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Possible shortages and power outages. Can you summarise your thoughts for us, Minister Beard?
Well, from here, yeah, you're all like a bit stupid really arguing about outdated devices, concepts like money. In Finland, we replaced currency with a system of bartering fluids back in the 1970s, and that's like a really hard distinction, actually.
Thank you, Minister Voltovich.
Your country is like man who think he invented perfect trap for giant mutant-haired bear. When really he just standing in field
Holding his tiny penis, yes. Thank you, Minister. And finally, Prime Minister Clement.
Let me talk to your viewers here, Jeremy. Don't worry, everybody. Don't be afraid. Don't even lose a wink of sleep. We knew the rest of the world would react this way. And we're ready. As the old man used to say, you can't make a shag pie without blocking a few toilets.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Reassuring words there.
We'll be back.
After these messages.
We'll be back.
1 minute back.
Hey, Peter, I over your way this weekend. You fancy a quick 9?
Yeah, sure, front or back.
That's what I hope you're asking Megan's vote for me.
Sees how you'll lead me.
You're careful. It's all part of his long-term plan to get fired live on the news at 6 in front of the nation. Can someone warn him it's going a little too well?
Nutritious food will grow right here in the territory.
This is important. New government censorship. Should show up in blue. Same as
Wait, what? What?
Enjoy life and make wonderful
You're still
memories.
meant to bow.
Because we've shown our international friends what's possible when we all pool our resources and come together in a sense of team spirit. So don't worry about what the rest of the world thinks. Save your concern for those around you, your family, friends, and neighbours. And have confidence that the team will keep you safe. Advance. Let's keep on setting a shining example together.
Welcome back. I'm Megan Wolf. Later, we have an exclusive first look at the theatrical sensation everyone's going to be talking about. But first, it's time to go over to the culture spot with lovely old Jeremy Donaldson, who's joined by a very special guest. Jeremy.
Thanks, Megan. I have the honour and privilege of being joined by hip-hop royalty. He's been called the son of the streets and the father of truth. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Let's welcome Jesus!
Thanks, Jeremy. It's a real honor to be here on the show. The news. You know, as a kid on the streets, I used to watch you through a window of the shop, so to be here right now is crazy.
You've had quite the journey to be here today. Can you tell us about it?
Well, you know, I try not to, well, you know, the past is the past, so I don't like to dwell on it. But yeah, man, the streets is all I remember. My mother donated me to a charity shop soon after I was born. Elderly lady took pity on me. She let me sleep on a pile of crime fiction until I taught myself how to walk.
Wow, that's quite the childhood.
And she died tragically. Right there in my arms, man. You know, I remember a tear falling as she lay there next to the huge homework. In that moment, I became a child of the streets. I was just 18 months old.
What a tale. What a tale. You're known for your direct and honest lyrics. Was your style informed by your troubled past?
Well, like I said, I try not to talk about it. It's just, it's just too hard. But my first album is about the story of the first 4 times I stole, so I wouldn't starve. A small group of infants came to see me as a de facto leader. They called me Mr. Peaceless. Anyway, we were like a family.
So let's see. Recently, you've been quite outspoken about the government.
Yeah, fuck the government. Fuck the Bond. Fuck Peter Clement.
What is it that you object to so vehemently?
Well, you know, they stole from us. They're taking our money and spending it, man.
Redistributing it. Actually, homelessness has been all but eliminated in the last couple of months.
So?
Sure, what's a cause close to your heart?
Yeah, nah, of course, man, very much so. I just mean, like, why do I have to pay for it, you know? Why do I have to pay for it, you know?
People have been rehoused on property seized from the historically wealthy. And that couldn't have been you, could it?
I worked hard to be here. I built this from nothing, and I deserve to be rewarded for that.
Would you say you worked harder than, say, a farmer or a care worker?
But if people are taking something from my music, choose to value it, buy it, who's to say I don't? And no one can take that away from me.
Not even to help, say, vulnerable children, Mr. Jesus.
What is it you're trying to say?
I just don't understand where you placed yourself politically. I mean, is it ideological or is it tactical?
Well, it's more of
Or
like,
maybe it's hereditary.
stop trying to tie me in knots with your words, Jeremy. I let the music speak for itself. And the people agree with me.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you have given me a very easy segue out of a conversation that I promise you was much more painful for me than it was for you. So here he is with his hit song, This Is Love No Ticket.
Oh no, I'm going to do something a little different. It's a new single I've been working on.
Oh, so this is unemployment, is it?
Yeah, we love it.
Excellent. Don't worry, we've got a state-of-the-art censorship system. What's the worst that could happen? So here he is with a new song. We'll be lucky. It's Jesus!
First, you're gonna pay. You're gonna pay back.
Well, we're all different races from many different places. At any given moment, only one could be the greatest. So you can feel the nation for your participation. Still 2 leaders in this motherfucking nation. Now we're getting sanctioned, talking about expansion. Why does Julie is require a massive fucking mansion? So fuck all your schemes. I don't need your freaky team, and I don't need your help to achieve my fucking dreams. So don't make a fuss when you find you're one of us. Get every single one of you's a bit Jesus. And you can call me crazy, cause no one ever pays me. But I won't waste a lifetime being motherfucking lazy. I may be inventive, my taste may be expensive, but why would I get out of bed with no fucking incentive? Although it's contravention of your obvious intention, I like to eat a little of the fruits of my invention. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. The best of the praise, of the press of the wave, cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Take this fruit, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Connie Clemens motherfucking head, cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. It's time to spoon the bottle with a motherfucking pitchfork. So this is for the snub ones, the push and the shove ones, the folks who feel the burden of their motherfucking loved ones, ones who had plenty like a motherfucking Bentley, the ones who now finding that their bank accounts are empty, the ones of aspiration, who had to flee a nation, the ones who built a business out of dreams of perspiration. There's all sorts of people, the good and the evil, it only takes a glance to see we're not all equal. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. And the best of the praise, of the press of the ways, cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head, cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Touch all the puzzle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Get out of your seats, get your asses in the streets, set a fire in the building, let them feel some fucking heat. Say you hate to go getters, no squealing bed getters, and burn them on the powers of advanced fucking letters. Gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head, cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to spoon the puzzle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Chase that dream, you don't need a fucking team, and advances little dances on as humbuses and steams, cause they're stale and corrupt, then you're angry. Then your hearts and your minds and your fists to destruct.
Jesus there with his new song. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. Back to the studio. I'm sorry. I'm out of agreement with you, but I'd just like to offer you an apology. I've just been told that there was some kind of issue upstairs, and an attempt was made to censor some of my words.
What? Are you joking?
I'd just like to say to you and everyone at home that this was a mistake.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe absolutely ridiculous.
Here at the National Nightly News, we pride ourselves on remaining neutral, unbiased, and independent of any outside interference. You have my word. We will never censor ideas. Back to you, Wendy.
A bit of dangerous language there, sorry about that. Well, thank you to little Jeremy Donaldson for providing our culture skills. Coming up, we'll be speaking to a couple of familiar faces about their upcoming dramatic outing. Don't go away.
Just to remind you, using that on VCR. How's that break?
No, this is ridiculous. Who's up on basis?
This is just a mix-up, I'm sure. Now, if you come with me, I really do have to ask
Oh,
you
trust me.
to leave
My father's going to hear about this.
I understand. This is unbelievable, Megan.
I don't know what you're talking about, Charlie.
I love our foreign vacations, yeah. Just hate flying.
I know what you mean, Brad.
What? Oh.
Let's face it, it's pretty inefficient getting all the way around.
Oh, here we go. Look at him.
If we could just get you in position.
Oh, say no more.
Say no more.
Jeremy, you remember Mr. Algebra?
Vividly.
And Mr. Harris, and this is Miss Rayton.
What?
Philippa, please.
You're back together again, eh? Who'd have thought it?
Absolutely.
Yes, it is awfully exciting, isn't it?
Right, okay then. We're going live in 10 seconds, opening on camera 1. When they tell me it's happening, I make it happen. 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back, and no, you're not mistaken. Sitting across from us are some very familiar faces.
You really are too kind, Megan. It was only a yogurt commercial, but I'm still proud of it.
Here to talk about his new show, we're joined by National Treasure Tommy Harris, the National Theatre's Philippa Rayton, and National Deficit Jeff Algebra.
So lovely to have you all. Tommy, would you like to tell us about the show?
You know what? I'd bloody love to. It's about me. It's about my life.
And where did the idea come from?
So, right, picture this. Their legs akimbo, mid-session, sweat is pouring out of me like an immense hog. And then Cindy comes in, she says, Pete's on the phone.
That's Peter Clements, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, Pete's actually a really good mate of mine.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, no, he comes to the training sometimes. He's a really good goal sweeper. Anyway, so, Pete, he says, Toby can, Pete, I never told him, he says, how would you like to spread your message of team spirit and cooperation across this fractured nation? How would you like to really make a difference in the best way?
What did you say?
Yeah,
So Jeff, the question on everyone's lips is, what in God's name are you doing here?
Well, after the success of my debut work and all the people that I've touched, I knew that I had a career in theatre. I've always been an admirer of Tommy from afar. So when my manager phoned and said I'd been offered the gig as director, I was ecstatic. I whipped my trousers off and got straight to work.
Why did you do that?
I do all my best work with my trousers off.
Yeah, I think that too.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Right, Tommy, sorry, would you just give us a sense of what the show is actually about?
It's about how hard it's been for me and some of the struggles that I've faced. It like really getting to the heart of how tough it is to be me. I call it Tommy Harris, Jesus, that was hard.
Catchy. We actually have some clips of the process of the show. Would you mind telling us what's going on here?
Yeah, so the show is built around
Oh,
things
shit.
that are important to me. It mixes scenes from my life as well as epic fantasy retellings of scenes from my life.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
I'm sorry, son. You were an embarrassment.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
Back, demon! Back to the hells! Demon, back to the hells!
Philippa, what's it been like co-starring with Tommy Harris?
I've always dreamed of treading the boards at medium-scale regional theatres, Megan. And for once, this show really gives me something to sink my teeth into.
What's different about this show then?
Tommy, Mr. Harris's show really lets me show my tremendous range as an actor. I've always suffered from typecasting, forced to play the same tired characters in every god-awful yogurt advert or godforsaken soap opera or, God forbid, a pantomime. But, you know, this show has really let me just go there.
Jeff, the viewers at home will be dying to know exactly what is it that you bring to the show.
Question. I think these guys would agree with me when I say that it's my steady hand on the tiller, my arm round the shoulder approach that's really brought the production from strength to strength.
Absolutely right. Jeff's contributions are immeasurable. He was our rock.
Can you give us a sneak peek of anything else that might be in the show?
Yeah, it was nice,
Yeah, we've got lots of exclusive first-hand experiences of Tommy's time in the underground sports scene.
And some epic fantasy retellings of Tommy's time in the underground sports scene.
You'll never take the sacred path!
Am I right in saying this was officially pay commissions by the government?
Yeah, all paid for by the taxpayer, which, you know, to be honest, is actually a lifesaver, really.
I think it's fair to say that without Advance's support, we'd have had to cut the finale.
Which frankly would have been a travesty. You do this every night.
Absolutely. It's a metaphor.
For what?
Yeah.
And the public are footing the bill, are they?
You're right, they are. Between the cost of my tour bus and the dry clean of my ties, I'm barely scraping a profit here.
Amazing. And where can the folks at home come and see this for themselves? We're performing all over the nation. And people can see it for absolutely free, all courtesy of Advance. Isn't that incredible, Jeremy?
Yes, it's unbelievable.
Yes. Well, thank you all so much for coming. Next time we see you, no doubt, you'll have taken our jobs.
That's all we have time for tonight. Join us tomorrow when I'll be interviewing the world's most attractive horse. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolf. And from all of us here, have a peaceful night.
That's the ads. Let's get reset for tomorrow, please.
Hey, we must stop bumping into each other like this, eh?
Oh.
First sequence was the bee. I think because I didn't fix the video signal, I think. I played one advert too late. It's the last one, isn't it? Exceedingly poor edit? Really? Multiple holidays.
Provitamin formula is a deep fortifying, intensive treatment that repairs and protects hair for irresistible shine.
I think I just realized this is the same model who did the skin product, and I guess her skin got messed up. That's funny. I'm gonna go get some water.
The intensive formula acts fast, repairing damage and strengthening strands for hair that's truly unbreakable.
Metaphor for hair strength.
Rapid repair and protect. Deep, nourishing, intensely strengthening Pro V formula. The irresistible, healthy-looking great hair days that make you say, "Look at my hair."
Look at my hair.
Acide gastrique. Because you have to.
Here at Advance, we know you're worried about the future. This territory
Oh no, I
is
did.
fast
I remember saying that.
and makes other countries uncomfortable. But that won't stop us. And we intend to make sure that in these challenging times, every citizen gets their fair share of the abundant, nutritious food we grow right here in the territory. Your entitlements book will be coming to you by post in the next few days.
No, I think I didn't.
And it will let you claim enough food for the week, every week, at one of our many new distribution centres. Everyone will get their fair share, and no one will be left behind. So you can carry on coming together to enjoy life and make wonderful memories. Because we've shown our international friends what's possible. We all pool our resources and come together in a sense of team spirit. So don't worry about what the rest of the world thinks. Save your concern for those around you, your family, friends, and neighbours, and have confidence that the team will keep you safe from all the rest. Advance. Let's keep on setting a shining example together.
A ladder worth climbing. It's a lazy Sunday afternoon in summer, and you and Sam making the most of both kids being out of the house. You head into the pantry, taking a moment to remember when it used to be your mother's room. Before coming out with the last two slices. Making coming out with the last two slices of homemade cake. It's rare for you and Sam to actually get to finish sweet things in this house, and you savor every mouthful. Just as you take your last bite, you hear the sound of the front door slamming. That'll be Charlie back from the Go-Getters. You can hear him practically running to come find you, and he's grinning from ear to ear when he's finally done. When he finally does. I have some really big news. You and Sam play along, sitting attentively with bated breath. Ready? Charlie asked, as you both nod enthusiastically. With a flourish, he reveals a new badge from his pocket and proudly presents it to you both to examine as he announces, "As of today, I'm a member of the first tier of Cohesion Cadets. There's one more stuff I'm going to be doing, and I'll be working some weekends, but it's really cool." Okay, Sam congratulates Charlie as you can't help but frown. This seems a big step up for teenagers. You and Sam grin back at your son. You're thrilled that he's happy and doing well. Yeah, he's being indoctrinated into that political party. A grown-up child. You've always had dinner as a family for the important events, and tonight is no exception. You've even invited Chris round as an olive branch. Why? Why? We don't want Chris in this house. Or Sam did, and that's why, apparently. It'll be the last time you're all going to be together for a while. So far, if you've managed to avoid fighting with Chris or Susie over politics, which Sam is no doubt grateful for. Susie has spent so much time with her boyfriend lately, it feels like she's barely at home. Given how much time they've been spending together on their own, you're a bit surprised when Susie and Zach propose a big family dinner tonight. I like this music. He and Chris have gotten on like a house on fire, much to your irritation. You wish your mother could have been here. She and Susie were always so close. But the mood is a happy one nonetheless. You take a sip of your drink and enjoy the moment. Yeah, this music is good. It's too loud though. You and Zach have never seen eye to eye on matters of politics, or anything for that matter. His strong support of Disrupt is a real concern, but Sam has forbidden you from any more arguments about it. Susie stands, tapping her glass with a spoon, silencing the various conversations. We have an announcement to make. It catches you by surprise, and you find yourself hoping for good news. I don't want to do a big speech or anything, but we wanted everyone together to tell you. You hope this isn't going where you think it's going. Zach and I are moving in together, she announces. The chorus of some congratulations from around the room. Well, I'm moving into Zach's studio for now, while we look for somewhere for the two of us. Suzy follows up quickly, clearly excited to be telling you all. Really? You're moving in with him? Really? This again? I love him. Why can't you accept that? Susie's smile has gone. She's frowning at you now at her disappointment, and her disappointment is unmistakable. In fact, the only person without a scowl on their face is Charlie, not surprising given his dislike for Zach. Look, I'm sorry, but I just think this is a mistake. Ugh, I'm so sick of this. It's just as well we moved my things to Zach's earlier. Susie quickly gathers her things and Zach follows suit, while Sam tries to object. No, I'm sorry, I'm just tired of this. I'll see you soon. But we're going now. Susie gives everyone else a brief hug before muttering you a quick goodbye. Everyone else follows the couple out, leaving you alone to clean up. That did not go well. Later that night, you find yourself alone in Susie's old room. Sam went to bed without speaking to you, and Charlie went to a friend's house after the abrupt end of dinner. Sliding down the wall, you sit on the floor, reminiscing. Clearly, Susie's grown up, whether you like it or not. Yeah, this was the bad boyfriend that we didn't want her to be with. But she's grown. She can make her own choices, I guess. Shopping, something that always seemed so tedious before the sanctions, has become even more of a chore now. You managed to get almost everything you needed for the family this evening, but you'll have to come back tomorrow to get through the week. There's a queue to leave the car park, though it's hard to make out why in the dark. Hopefully whatever's causing it won't be long. As the final car in front of you drives off, you realize the queue is actually due to a checkpoint set up at the exit. A friendly-looking man in an advanced uniform, CCO emblazoned in a number of places on it, approaches your car and knocks on the driver's side window. You roll it down. Good evening. Nothing to worry about. I was just pondering if I could see your team membership card, please. Sam didn't sign you both up for yours a few weeks back. Didn't Sam sign you both up for yours a few weeks back? You rummage in the glove box and eventually produce your card. Yep, that's all great, thanks. Don't forget to keep an eye out for the new team lottery starting up soon. Loads of great benefits to be won. You have a nice day now. The man is all smiles as he pats the bonnet of your car and waves you off. Free prizes for just having the card? Fantastic. An invitation worth ignoring? It's a Saturday, one of your few days off, and you've made the most of it. But as late afternoon draws on, the invitation sits pinned to the fridge, staring accusingly at you. The Channel 1 Gala is a mandatory work event. Bozeman was very quick to tell you. Also, don't you dare be late. Well, if we're the only person making any money around here and we're doing well, I guess we have to go. It's probably not wise to risk Bozeman's wrath. Gotta go. Best start getting early. You wonder if Sam will give you a lift. A drink or two might help with enforced office socializing. Hopefully it won't be too bad. After all, you're pretty good at your job, right? A national news night. You arrive on time, barely, at the Sylvanian, one of the oldest and grandest hotels in the capital. You're surprised to see a queue to get in, and quickly realize it's because people are being searched at the door by some very militant-looking personnel in smart attire. While you're waiting, you can't help but notice just how very opulent the building is. Possibly the fanciest place you've ever been in your life. You submit to being patted down and, with a sigh of relief, are let into the hotel. Once inside, you're directed to the grand ballroom, and following the signs, you marvel at the sheer scale of the place and the amount of armed security guards. And you finally arrive, a severe-looking woman at the door asks for your name. I'm Alex Winston. She curtly checks her list before whispering something to the waiter beside her. You've made it just in time to be seated before dinner. Please, follow Emmanuel here to your table. The waiter smiles at you and opens one of the great double doors, gesturing for you to enter. Immediately, you can see why it's called the Grand Ballroom. You pause for a second to take it all in. You feel a slight tap on your arm, and Emmanuel gestures for you to follow him. He seats you at the table in the central floor area, with a decent view of the stage. Clearly, you're in Bozeman's good books at the moment. You're sat with some colleagues you've seen around the Channel 1 offices before but don't know that well. One of them informs you, far too excitedly, it's a very corporate evening of awards and speeches. Gotta make sure Yoshi is doing okay. Alright. She's alright. I need to remove Reddit off my file. Because too many notifications. A crazy amount of notification. At least the food should be good. Dinner is indeed lovely. With the help of the, no doubt, very expensive wine, conversation flows easily enough. In fact, much to your surprise, you're actually presented with an award for Best Newcomer to the Channel 1 family. Well, this was unexpected. As you walk up to collect it, you recognize the presenter as Dr. Adrian Atkinson Blimey of In Scissors fame. He thanks Advance for sponsoring this year's gala, before specifically thanking Prime Minister Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement for being in attendance tonight. As you take to the stage, you see the frontmost central table does indeed seat the Prime Ministers, as well as Bozeman, Meghan, and some other very well-to-do types that you don't recognize. That explains all the security. And you're handed the award. Dr. Atkinson Blimey asks if you'd like to say a few words. Yeah, why don't we just quick praise for advance in channel 1. Yoshi, you just can't just come in here like that. What's going on with you? You've probably already been rewarded and you just want a double reward, right? As you thank Advance, applause breaks around the room. Both Peter and Julia stand up to magnanimously accept it before saying the night's not about them, but thanks all the same. As you head back to your seat, you see Bozeman nodding at you with a satisfied smile on his flushed face. Clearly, that was the right speech. Just as you're finishing up dinner, one of the other people at the table points behind you. As you turn to see Bozeman walking briskly past, with Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement in tow. You're pretty sure he was pointedly ignoring you. He seems to be introducing the Prime Minister to a selection of people at different tables. Better them than you. You finish off the rest of the meal, listen to the last few speeches, and then head home. All in all, it was a surprisingly nice evening. You might actually look forward to the next one, providing Bozeman invites you to that one, of course. The loading tip guy is off today, so there isn't one. Oh. Cute. The heat wave. Get this going. Oh!
Who's down the sun, have you?
Yeah, just strapped on their wax wings.
Classical illusion, no substitute for air conditioning.
You know, I genuinely thought you'd be in a better mood. She's not even here.
Yes, but he is. Our gun-toting handler.
Who, Andy?
I don't know what the fuck his name is, do I?
He's here to keep us safe from people like Disrupt.
All right, keep us in line. Keep guns. Give me the willies.
10 seconds, everybody.
So, we've got any actual real news tonight?
Oh, the world's on fire. That good enough for you? Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight. Siege mentality. The World Council today established a military blockade to enforce the unjust and punitive sanctions now entering their 10th week. In a statement from team headquarters a short time ago, Prime Minister Julia Salisbury issued a commanding response to this unprovoked escalation.
Ever since these illegal sanctions were imposed, we have gratefully relied upon trade and aid from our worldwide friends who, like us, refuse to recognize their legitimacy. Today's escalation, however, is nothing short of an act of war. We call upon our international allies to condemn this blockade absolutely, and we warn aggressors to this country that we are neither meek nor defensive. Thank you.
Ailing business. Wannabe beer magnate Johnny Hansleys seems to have fallen on hard times as his brewery venture folds. It seems Johnny wasn't cut out for the brewing business, as poor sales forced him to close his doors. And if this exclusive image is anything to go by, he hasn't been handling it well. Left with 8,000 cases of surplus stock, a heartbroken Hansleys said he's been left with no choice but to work his way through the leftovers himself. Johnny said, I reckon at my current pace I can get through them in just over 2.5 years. But then again, I'm smashed, so what do I know? In it to win it. Exciting news from France today with the announcement of a new monthly prize draw for all team membership card holders. Every month, lucky winners from across the country will be picked at random to receive what Team HQ are describing as unique prizes worth more than money used to be. Take-up on the scheme has been much higher than expected, and if it's lucky winners' delighted face is anything to go by, it looks like pretty soon everyone's going to have one. Glory Hall? Due to the overwhelming public disapproval of their controversial moves, Remington's Fist announced that excavations are to be discontinued and the unfinished tunnel will be repurposed. Speaking from her divorce lawyer's parking lot, pitiful CEO Sophia Remington admitted the attempt to dig through the earth was short-sighted and ambitious, and unveiled the future of the abandoned hole. Sophia claims the low-cost subterranean housing project will be a triumph for low-income families and promises affordable, attractive accommodation only a few miles below sea level. Back to basics. It seems the team trapped in Dante's Taint could be facing a problem too great even for them, as escape plans are scrapped. An image, translated from deep within the cave system, shows the doctors moments after they receive the news that they have lost public support for their reckless escape attempt. Could this serious setback prove fatal for their already troubled homeward venture? With all hope lost, even in defeat, these two appear to have stuck together. But can any professional respect survive the prospect of an eternity underground? Most colleagues can't even handle a shared fridge. Megan, burning down the house? The capital was put on high alert last night after disrupt terrorists set an emblematic fire in the heart of Parliament Park. Violent conflict broke out at the demonstration after a mob of so-called protesters from the radical groups launched an unprovoked attack on community cohesion officers in attendance. With the methods of this increasingly violent rabble becoming ever more extreme, many are asking if the military should intervene. Colonel Phineas Mad Badger Fortingley Davis of the 1st Mounted Bastards Brigade said his men were, and I quote, oiled up and ready for action. All this, and I'll be talking to some people with fascinating medical conditions, as well as one of the contenders in this year's Feline Football Championship, and her proud owner. That's off on tonight's National Nightly News.
Oh shit! Oh god! No!
But first tonight, our team of correspondents has been dispatched to every corner of the country whose young people are coping with this unprecedented hot weather. First, let's go to Megan.
What a disaster.
To see what the scientific community has to say. Megan, how's the weather there?
How's the weather? It's absolutely glorious, Jeremy. Thank you for asking. I'm here with Dr. Anna Clay at the University of Princeton. Are you enjoying the weather as much as I am?
Oh, yes, it's wonderful, isn't it? My eyelids are sweating.
And you're part of a team carrying out a study into just what's causing this unbelievable heat, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, we want to be able to reassure the public once and for all that there's absolutely nothing to worry about and that they can enjoy their sunstroke and fossil fuels in peace.
So I'm very confident about that.
Oh, very much so. I can say without any hesitation, there's really no cause for any concern here. I've actually left my car running.
So tell us about this experiment.
Well, we take data from weather stations from all over the world, along with atmospheric samples, and we take all that and we feed it into this state-of-the-art computer, and very soon we'll be getting a high-tech readout of the results.
Maybe that sounds very fancy.
I should just say, none of this would be possible without the generous support of Remington's Fist. This is all thanks to their unrivaled investment in our future, and may I just...
Oh no! Where are you?
right.
Right, but obviously he said a second ago that everything is absolutely fine, so...
But actually, under concern level, it just says, why, God, why?
We should be celebrating these wonderful results, I think.
Yeah? We need to evolve gills within 40 years. Here it just says, shit.
Look at you! This is meant to be a celebration! You can't go around looking like that!
Shit.
There you go, much better. Can I just say thank you again
Oh, God.
to the Remington for providing all of this?
Everyone, we don't have long. Time is running out.
Absolutely right. That is all we have time for.
Oh, it turns off every now and then, that's why.
Enjoy that. I'd like to thank Dr. Burns for just one opinion on the climate.
The sea will reclaim us all!
There you have it, Jeremy. Proof, if proof we need be, that everything is just fine. I'm Megan Wolf, here with science. Back to you.
Megan Warfare, attempting to do some actual news. Next, heads over to Robin Short, who's in Scritchford with some of the winners of this week's Team Membership Lottery. Robin?
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm here in Scritchford with Gary Failsafe, a janitor at the local school, and Amelia Jackhammer, an aspiring poet. Both of you were drawn at random from those who hold team membership cards to receive this week's amazing prize. How do you feel?
Filled with fervent euphoria.
Yeah, good, yeah.
And all that we had to do was fill in a quick form or two.
Wow, that sounds so convenient, but we're all dying to know. What have you won?
That's right, Robin. I've won dinner with Julia Salisbury at one of the capital's top restaurants.
Ooh, swanky.
And I've been invited to Peter Clement's house to help him dredge the gutter in.
That's absolutely terrific. You must both be over the moon.
I've written a poem about it.
So, can you tell me about the moment when you first heard the news?
Well, I was battling against a particularly difficult floater, probably one of the sixth formers, when the headmaster came and found me.
I was involved in a similarly brutal conflict with a particularly arduous stanza.
So you were both polishing turds?
No, I don't like to polish them. I like to keep them in tune for my collection.
Oh. How unexpected.
I don't polish turds. I write poetry.
Potato. So Gary...
Do you think Peter Clement's going to let me keep the contents of his downpipe?
There's no harm in asking, I suppose.
Would you like to hear one?
No, thank you. Gary, when you signed up for team membership, was it in hopes of winning the lottery, or were there other reasons?
I like a flutter, of course, but no. The boss said I had to sign up to keep coming into school.
Very sensible. It's important to know who we're trusting around our children.
I have an unpublished book of sonnets about children. Perhaps you'd like to hear one.
No!
Or an anthology of haikus on the death of innocence.
I'd rather hear about Gary's turd collection.
Really? I thought you might say that.
Are you alright?
Yes, it's coming. It's coming. It's inspiration, and it's delicious.
Right you are.
Today on the show, there's no news. Just a man who keeps multiple poos.
Come on!
My favourite. See how it's fibrous. It's really lovely texture.
Would you encourage other people to enter for their chance to win?
If it's colour you're looking for, take a gander at all blue eyes here.
The national news lost its way when it covered some crap on a tray.
These are quite rare.
Maybe that was unfair.
And that's all we have time for today. Back to you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Robin. What a lucky pair they are. And finally in this segment, it's over to Patrick Bannon, who's gone to the smelliest town in the country to see how the unprecedented weather is affecting the locals. Patrick?
Hello there, Jeremy. Hello, yes. I'm here live in Grizzleford, which was recently voted the smelliest town in the country. And I have to say that, in this heat, the smell really is. I mean, it's something else. Barry Lardons, mate, you've lived here your whole life. How'd you put up with the sting?
Well, we're just all very proud of our achievement, to be honest with you. So tell that look at him, proud as pun. Do you know what it's like, son? Being the second smelliest town, living in the shadow of Arseminster, like smug fucks. And who's laughing now, eh?
Well, not me, that's for sure. So what happened, mate?
Right, the good people from Remington's Fist came in and saved the day with their factory.
You're talking, of course, about the newly built flour factory.
Yeah, they gave us this big presentation on jobs and growth. But as soon as we heard about the stench, we paid them whatever they wanted to put it here.
Oh God!
Affect your life in every way, Barry. I mean, perhaps if you're filling in a tax return or completing the physical act of love.
It's strong at first, but you get used to it after several weeks of your first bout of sickness. The judges were very impressed.
So, what's the sickness like?
Oh, that's nothing to worry about. It takes a few minutes before you develop any symptoms. Now, folk are saying something about the production line and how they dump carcasses directly into the waterway, but I think it's probably a few valves on the high street.
On the high street? Did I see a doctor? What are the symptoms?
Well, the first one is asking stupid questions. Then folk experience a lot of inhibition.
Girls, do they? When was the last time you brushed your teeth, this stinking old tramp?
Next according is a period of randomly bursting into song, followed immediately by delusions of grandeur.
Hello, it's sexy Patrick Bannon, and he's wearing sexy shorts now. Oh my God, look at me. I'm like a stallion. I'm gorgeous. Why didn't you tell me? I should take my shorts off. You know what? I'll even let you touch me if you want.
That will be the bout of undeserved self-confidence.
Love the Bannon. Feel the Bannon. Oh, man.
And the ennui. All that's left now are the hallucinations and unconsciousness.
Dottie? Is that you? Why you make out at elbows? You know I don't eat opinions.
Oh, don't worry, folks. Once he wakes up, he'll be just fine. We'll just find a place to stick him where it won't matter how many times he evacuates his bowels. Right, that's all here from Grizzleford, a town that's really making a stink. I'm Barry Lardons. Back to you, Jeremy.
Right. Thanks, Barry. With a naval blockade being set up around our coastline as we speak, when we come back, I'll be talking to 3 members of the general public who appear to be here purely for medical reasons. Don't go away. Unless, of course, you've got something better to do. We'll be back.
This next section features a potentially controversial guest, and Marks may request some censorship if he goes too off-topic. You've done a great job so far keeping everyone happy, so let's keep up the good work.
I ain't done. It's 200 fucking degrees in here, and I can't do this anymore.
You say this every Friday.
I've done something.
I didn't even see this tape.
Jeremy?
My mic is still.
I don't think we should play that.
That's what I'm talking about? Cat football? We should be doing an interview with a war minister, or a report from Grenfell Downs. Even the weather will be more fucking relevant than this.
Jeremy, it's free. It's something like to keep people's minds off things.
Exactly, which is wrong. People's minds should be very much on things. Christ, it's so fucking hot.
Please take the seats as quickly as you can.
I can't do this anymore, Dan. I've had enough. That's it. This is just
10 seconds. Get over yourself, Jeremy. Why don't you stop feeling sorry for yourself about it? 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Night in News with me, your host, Jeremy Donaldson. Later, we'll be talking to the captain of the territory's first cat football team, Professor Pumpkin. But first, I'm joined by 3 guests with some balmy bodily behaviours. Joining me is a woman who's been hiccuping for over 9 months. Isn't that right, Miss Piercy?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Tell us, what brawl is on?
It's all a bit of a blur, Jeremy, to be totally frank with you. So I was watching your show and I remember seeing the news about the election. And I haven't stopped since.
Fascinating stuff. Also here is Frankie Steampipe. Perhaps you could explain to us exactly what your physiological foreboy is.
I was going to say it's high time people like me were respected. We're constantly overlooked in the workplace, we're whispered about on buses, and we're asked politely to leave children's birthday parties. And it's disgusting. I'm sorry, my bowels have comic timing.
And finally, I'm joined by a man who answers every question honestly, even when it isn't aimed at him. How do you cope with that, Mr. Truman?
With a combination of booze, self-hatred, and hardcore pornography.
Is that?
Not according to my therapist.
Well, in that case, let's speak to Rose. Tell me, how does the hiccuping impact you?
I get shushed a lot, which is hard. At work they've asked me to stop answering the phones. It's really confident.
Well, I find it really fucking irritating.
And believe your story?
Oh god.
No.
Actually, I've been surprised at how much support I've received.
And Frankie, why have you come here today?
Because my wife left me, and I was hoping to fame when I'm back.
We've started a group of people with ailments deemed broadly comical by society. It's called Take Us Seriously.
That's right. And we bloody well mean it.
And who's doing so far?
A bunch of fucking losers.
It's just us so far.
And how much success have you had?
Well, we've seen some real positive changes.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's been a runaway success.
Shit all. Not a single person comes to our fun run, and all of our leaflets fell in the canal.
Well, Miss Pearson, some people say your condition was actually caused by the shocking events of that night. What do you think?
Come down to the door. That's absolute rubbish.
What it'd be like to have a pair of tits.
Could you? I'm sorry, it's very odd. What was I thinking?
That you're a team fuck puppet?
No.
Or a sellout cunt?
Boys, just reminded that he turned out, and hey, if this isn't live television, then what is it?
Fuckfest of propaganda masquerading as journalism.
Right! Frankie, Rose, tell us! How can the viewers get involved with your cause?
Yes, we're holding a sponsored run in the park next weekend. It's called the No Smiles 13 Miles.
No, it's called the No Laugh Half. What did I say before the show?
The team pulling Jeremy Donaldson strings.
No! Oh, wow! We may have to end that now. What a harmless bit of fun. No, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We demand respect. Yes, well, later, I'll be talking to Professor Parkin. A ginger tanning will allow not fair of penalty balls. Is that really necessary?
No, it isn't. Let go. Not you.
I've had him at once. Enough!
Oh.
Enough!
What are you doing?
Try not to piss myself.
Alex,
Don't you dare! Don't you fucking dare cut me out before I tell you to. You in the broadcast centre. Both was on tapes. You listen to me. You cut the ads before I tell you to, and I will kill every single person in this studio. I am thinking about what I'm doing. I've been thinking about it for a long time. We all should be. Christ, it's so fucking hot in here. Do you remember when you used to do the real news? Before it was all the lottery winners and bloody cat football? We are on the brink of a siege, the likes of which the world hasn't seen in hundreds of years. The enemy is at the gates, and I'm stuck here talking to these three fucking idiots.
I think my cups have stopped.
You three, get the fuck out of my studio. Go on, now, go! Or I change my mind. Jenny, lock the doors. Lock the doors.
Yes, Jeremy.
Good. Yes. Now, good. Right. You're in the broadcast centre. Alex, you listen to me. You pay attention. Now, I'm sure you've already loaded up exactly what you're going to pay in the commercial, but today's going to be a little bit different. Look to your right. Yes, really. Look to your right.
I already found it.
Test tape, and I want you to load it into the machine. And when I say so, and not before, you play it. We've got about 15 seconds, so I wouldn't waste any time. Now, all cameras.
I assume you won't be playing that tape. This station does not negotiate with terrorists. I hope I've made myself clear. You seem to know what to do.
Every single thing that comes out of this studio is either one-sided or for now, we're going to show the other side of it. for a bit of fucking balance and the good old days. Alex, play the fucking tape. I don't want to hurt any of you.
Well done, Alex. From the station's perspective, you made the right call.
Start. I'm getting this map. Reset the system for the third segment. I imagine the ratings are going to be through the roof.
Roller coaster. We've got none of that, but I can tell you what we do have. Danger cars. Colourful germ pair. This swing. Stay with us in our rustic accommodation with all the facilities you'd expect. Water. Grass. Hey, shoot. Don't worry about that. With our fantastic live entertainment, actual activities, legally edible food and air, you're bound to find the
What do you
perfect
mean they
family
can play it?
getaway.
Why the fuck didn't they play it? Alex, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get a chance to make a real fucking difference!
Jeremy, calm down.
You fucking calm down! How long?
8 seconds.
You! What's your name? Of course it fucking is!
Jeremy, put the gun down, please.
How long?
Going live now.
Welcome back to what's left of the National Night. Welcome back to what's left of the main story tonight. There is a fucking massive military blockade being set up around this country.
Oh shit.
We are surrounded and outgunned, as incidentally am I. Now I have asked for all the security doors to be locked, the studio doors to be locked, but security is on its way. So, I doubt we'll have much time. But while there is, let's try and do the fucking news. Our first guest tonight is Jenny. She works here in production, and earlier today she told me she put forward several news stories. Older viewers will remember those, but they've all been rejected. So tell us, Jenny, what's somehow less important than Barnum and Bailey's Amazing Ship Circus and Commander Pumpkinut's the fucking cat footballer?
It's Professor Pumpkin.
Really, Jenny? There isn't much time. Come on, just one real news story.
I don't know, I can't think. I'm trying.
Christ! You haven't even taken into public ownership yet. And we might as well be running from Julia fucking Salisbury without immaculate Gilram. And this gallant knight, in slightly shattered armour, is Andy. He's a CCO. What's that stand for, Andy?
Community Cohesion Officer.
And what does that mean, Andy?
Well, we aim to strive...
No, you utter prick. I mean, what does that mean? What is a CCO? What are you?
Community...
Policeman! You're a policeman, a fucking policeman!
Yeah, that's what we used to be.
Used to be? It was less than 2 months ago. What the hell is wrong with you all? Jenny, any recollections yet?
Nothing's springing to mind.
All right then. Looks like you're in the hot seat, Andy. Exciting, eh? I mean, that's what you joined up for, wasn't it? Excitement? It's your first hostage situation.
Yeah.
Yes. Pretty shitty you ended up being the hostage, eh? Never mind. How many people have you arrested for not carrying or having their ID cards?
Well, firstly, we don't arrest anymore. We invite for consultation. And they're not ID cards.
Don't be a bad boy, like Andy, you know what I mean? Answer the question.
Well, it shouldn't have to be a big deal to prove who you are.
Only the guilty have something to fear?
Well, yes, actually.
How desperately naive.
Look, I'm just a police officer. CCO.
Just following orders?
Oh, come on, mate. No, that's not fair.
It was rhetorical. Jenny, ready to spill the beans yet?
Jeremy, please stop. I'm scared. Alex didn't even play your tape. This is pointless. It's over. Jeremy.
I was going to quit tonight. I had notes. See? There's a recording. A VHS tape. A message from Disrupt. I haven't heard it, but I know what it's trying to say, and I wanted you at home to hear it. So listen to the other side and make up your own minds. But Alex Winston, who works in production, decided it was not for your eyes and ears. It was not for broadcast. Maybe Alex will play it after the next break. Doesn't matter. Tomorrow morning will arrive in every major news broadcaster worldwide. But I wanted you to hear it first. To listen to what Disrupt had to say about this unreported country. Because Disrupt denies. Well, we swapped places while I wasn't looking. They're now the ones investigating, looking for evidence, trying to make the world a better place. And me? I'm in this newsroom interviewing Jeff fucking Algebra. What does Shock Chapter say is important? You might not agree with all of it, but you should still hear it and make up your own minds.
Are you serious? Disrupt a credible source. Get more objectivity out of Alan fucking James.
Oh my god, are you being deliberately obtuse? Why can't any of you understand there's no such thing as a credible news source anymore? Shit! Alan! Oh shit, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
He's bleeding. It's in his shoulder.
First aid! Whoa, we need first aid.
He doesn't need first aid, he needs a fucking ambulance.
Paramedics. There'll be paramedics for security.
Unlock those doors.
No! Don't do that!
Jeremy, he's bleeding, he could die.
Yes, but if you open the door, it's
How did you think this was going to end?
Why are you even here today? It's supposed to be your day off!
My date cancelled. I thought it'd be more fun to be here than moping around at home. Truth be told, I wanted to see you. Being annoyed with you is it's like wearing a comfy jumper.
It's the nicest thing you've said to me.
Let's not make it the last.
Right. All remaining cameras on me. In a minute, I'm going to ask Jenny to unlock the doors. Now, only Aaron, our cameraman, can get the medical attention he needs. I should imagine I'll get arrested for this. Wasn't it graceful? I had a speech. Once I was meant to be residing with a flourish of honour. A last hurrah! I was going to wish you all one last peaceful night. I'll say that happening now. Still, I want to have one last stab at the news before I go. You see, there's so much more we're not telling you. There's large groups of scientists, and they're testing something. Something loud and something. What was that? I didn't figure it out. I didn't
Him. Stay back, please.
Mr. Littleton, you have 10 seconds to lower your weapon. If you do not comply, we will open fire.
God, 10 to the ads.
9,
Alex, cut
8.
Maybe I shouldn't have. I wanted to see it actually. Yeah, the Die Hero achievement, someone else's job. That first sequence was horrible now. The Donaldson situation has been resolved. Hey Leon, how are you? Okay, let's see if we can see what happens. Little you can't afford, nice. Nice. Alright, let's see. Which one is that? Is that the Russia's? I'm doing alright. I was getting spicy.
What do you mean they didn't play it? Why the fuck didn't they play it? Alex, what the heck is wrong with you? You had a chance to make a real fucking difference!
Jeremy, calm down!
Okay, let's see. Well, it's probably, that's where it would stop. Okay.
Well, in less than a minute, we'll be going live to the newsroom. But before that, let's take a quick peek at tonight's scorching lineup. At 6:30, Megan Wolf is at the beach, chatting with members of the general public for a special heat wave. So
Okay,
Alabama
is this
Joe-
not going to show anything? Okay. Can we actually see what was in the... Oh, here it is. Let's see what's in the propaganda tape.
Good evening. You know who we are. You've seen our symbols on your walls. You've heard them lie about us on the news. We are the resistance. We are disrupt, and we're going to tell you the truth. Advance aided by the mass media are lying to you. The elderly are not a burden. The rich are not all crazy. And the team membership card is an ID card, no matter how tempting the prizes are. But who am I to tell you this? A voice from the shadows trying to tell you that everything you know is wrong. Or would you trust a man too scared to show his own face?
Don't switch on. Please, don't switch on.
It's that...
My name is Alan James, and I think that certain rights are worth fighting for. The right to keep the rewards of our own hard work.
I think it's the guy with the book,
the right?
right?
To be kept alive in our dotage. And the right to question our government without worrying what our children will report to their fellow go-getters. I love this country. It may be what I am, and I'll fight for it. In fact, I'll die for it, if I have to. But I can't do it alone. Disrupt a growing movement, but we need your help, your support, please. Look for us, find us, and if you also know in your heart that there is something deeply wrong in this country, join us. Resist. Disrupt.
You like that guy? Alright, I was gonna just play 2 sessions actually of the broadcast, but now that it gets really exciting, I want to see what happens next. So I'll play one more stage, or one more broadcast. A tape to remember. You wake up still partly in shock from what you saw on the news last night, what you had to edit on the news last night. When you come downstairs, you find your family sat in the living room waiting for you. You take a seat on the sofa between Sam and Susie. I thought Susie left for that resistance guy. Sam swallows, hesitating before starting. We were so worried about you last night after Jeremy. Everything that happened. Sam shakes his head. I wonder what they'll do with him now. Are you okay? Lock him up, probably. Can't say I blame him. Sam looks at the kids, then back to you. We saw that you chose not to play that tape. They paused before continuing, and I couldn't help but wonder why. I was trying to keep my job. Because if not, you guys are going to be complaining about money. But how does that even work with this new situation that they're in? If they make more money than everyone else, I thought no one can make more money than everyone else. Why is there like a wealth system? It seemed like the right thing to do. I think you did the right thing. I mean, it was a crazy situation, but playing the tape could have been really dangerous, Charlie says quietly. You hadn't realized how much his support would mean to you. It's good to have your son on your side. Yeah, because the son is already inducted into into the advanced political party. For what it's worth, Alex, which as we know is very little to you, I think you just made things worse. Sam sighs and stands up, heading to the kitchen. Though I'm sure it can't have been easy, I just wish you'd thought about what you were doing. Typical of Sam to make this about him. You take a deep breath and gather your thoughts. It's all a lot to take in. You're not sure you've fully processed what happened last night, let alone what Charlie and Sam think about it all. You look to your daughter. Yeah, she's already part of the resistance. We never agree on anything, but even I didn't think you could be so stupid. Susie throws the newspaper onto the coffee table, and Jeremy's face stares up at you from the front page. All you had to do was play it, and you couldn't even do that, right? She gets up and leaves the room, clapping slowly as she goes. You sigh and absent-mindedly turn on TV. It's nice that you've got at least some company. The TV is playing through some old Western show, but it's not quite as distracting as you'd hope. You were never going to please everyone. A questionable choice. You got off work early today, a rare enough occurrence to put a spring in your step. As you close the front door, you can hear excited conversation bubbling from the kitchen. Clearly, someone pops round for a cuppa on Sam's Friday oven. This is the music that I like. It's really good. Hopefully, there's still some biscuits left. As you enter, you see Sam, Susie, and Zach. They're all laughing and discussing something. As soon as she sees you, your daughter turns and enthusiastically presents her hand, which sports a prominent diamond ring. Look, Zach proposed. We're engaged. Oh, I see. Isn't this a bit quick? Your remark is met by an uncomfortable long silence as Susie and Sam share a knowing glance. Well, it was nice seeing you anyway. I guess we'd better be on our way. Apparently, we moved quickly, so we obviously can't stay too long. Sam sees them to the front door before coming back to the kitchen and shaking his head at you. Really, Alex? You couldn't even let them have this? To be fair, it has only been 6 months. Fuck Susie. Get out of my house. The 20-week war? Oh, cool.
Good evening, Alex. It's Bozeman here. Hope all's well with the family. Just a heads up, we're expecting those troublemakers at Disrupt to attempt to hack the channel during the broadcast. So keep an eye on the interference screen and stay out of the orange. Let's keep the news on the air. It's important, now more than ever.
Some pensioners, while they try and fashion a nutritious meal out of a can of condensed milk, a cow's tongue, and some noodles. Not one to miss.
Julia's team asked me to ask you what does that mean?
Documentary series
Can you do and turn politicians into humans?
which looks at the astonishing progress made by advance as we begin what is only
They do know this is the news, don't they?
at 8:30 p.m. It's over to Patrick Bannon.
What's this?
Squad highlights, including all
Something new on the panel.
semi-finals, teenage sports squad, the sports sport game. At 9, it's on 9.
At least they upgraded the
Followed at 9:20.
electric box.
Which tells the cautionary tale of one brave young lady's battles to survive the cruel administrations of our neighbours. At 11:25, it's Incisors. And tonight, Dr. Adrian Atkinson Blimey will be getting his teeth into Fiona from Handel Boundary, who's invented
10 seconds,
a tasty
everybody.
twist on the humble biscuit. And that takes us, after the weather and public information
Going in
film,
5,
into our close down.
4,
But first
3.
tonight, it's time to join Megan and the team for the National Night.
Good evening. This is the National Nightly News. I'm Megan Wolf. It's the 140th day of war. Our main headlines tonight. Company of Heroes. Skirmishes on land and sea again today as our armed forces tested the mettle of the World Council's illegal blockade. Advance's strategy of multiple small-scale incursions into the disputed zone is certainly keeping the enemy on high alert, unable to work out where or when the next strike will come. Sadly, however, more casualties were reported today, and as the weeks and months of this war make ever more demands on our armed services, those numbers will, tragically, only continue to rise. Don't starve. Advance's food programme moved from strength to strength today as rationing depots were opened in the last remaining unfed areas of the territory. The rationing depots have been constructed in record time, and the government's agricultural coordination strategy has seen shelves restocked with increasing regularity. And judging by the looks on this happy family's faces, it can't come a moment too soon. They'll be getting a good meal tonight on the government, just like the rest of us. 7 days to die. The recent decision to allow those with long-term health conditions to access transition centres has today been
These
declared
references to
an
game
overwhelming
titles.
success.
It's funny.
Previously available only to those in their final years, the expansion of the service has been met with relief by the many organisations calling for it to be opened up to the wider community. The transition centres have reported larger than expected numbers, but report that they are coping well and able to provide a complete and meaningful service to all who choose to use it. Populace. More than 11% of the population have thus far failed to register for a team membership card, a worrying statistic given that the cards are a legal requirement from midnight tonight. While applications are still open for those who like to run fashionably late, they can expect a few tricky questions from advance. Sympathy for the Devils? A poorly attended protest was held today by a struggling self-styled resistance movement, Disrupt. Support for the organisation has been falling after this and other news outlets showed the public their true colours. Disrupt spokesman Alan James said the demonstration was to remind people that, although they may have been less vocal in recent weeks, they remain the only real resistance to advance. And finally tonight, our mutual friend. Bail was denied in the High Court today for shamed former National Nightly News anchor Jeremy Donaldson. The presenter will be transferred to new lodgings at Pentonbridge Prison while the lengthy preparations for his trial, which is still 18 months away, begin. Since being taken into custody 10 weeks ago in this very studio, little has been heard from our former colleague. Despite how things ended, we wish him the best and will be sure to bring you all the details of that court case every night. But first tonight, with the war about to enter its 21st week, I'll be chatting with Peter Clement live in an exclusive team talk from his home in Lancashire. Don't go away, you won't want to miss a second of tonight's National Nightly News.
Oh shit. Fuck. I thought it was all done.
Later in the programme, I'm thrilled to say I'll be chatting with mega pop star ELC, who's going to be treating us to a world premiere of her new single. And then after that, in part 3, we've got something new I promise you won't want to miss. But first tonight, let's check in with Prime Minister Peter Clement, who's coming to us through the magic of television all the way from his home in Lancashire. Are you receiving me, Prime Minister?
Loud and clear, Miss Wolf. Loud and clear.
Well, let's start with the obvious. What's that in your hand, Prime Minister?
Cheeky cow. Cheeky cow. This is Alan James speaking for Disrupt. These days I'm often asked,
It certainly looks that way.
Well, I made a promise to Mrs. C, and as my old man used to say...
A promise is worth keeping?
Something like that, only with assholes.
So, I've heard from my sources
Oh,
that
shit.
you and the illustrious Mrs. C plan to take your winter break somewhere a little different this year.
That's right, we're planning a walking holiday right here in the territories, which is different for us, because, like you, Megan, I've always been a big fan of those warm foreign beaches.
Did you make this decision because of the blockade, Prime Minister?
Well, no, that's a good question. Well, as you know, while the blockade has effectively restricted the flow of goods into the country, we and our neighbours have continued to allow unimpeded travel for business leaders, ministers and such. So, although me and the missus could theoretically go to that gorgeous beach I just mentioned, it just doesn't smell much like team spirit. After all, as the old man used to say, when life gives you shite, make shite pie.
It works just as well with lemons and lemonade. Prime Minister, maintaining a healthy body like yours at a time of national crisis must require some demanding planning. What's your regime and how do you go about it all?
Well, the truth be told, it's all down to Claude, my infinitely patient personal trainer. He's a man with a plan. I'm just the prat with a fat.
on that very subject, how are you and Mrs. C handling living on rations?
Well, let me tell you, Megan, back in the 50s, when I worked for you backstage for your Patrick Brannan's dad, did you know I did that?
I think everyone knows that.
Well, what you probably didn't know was that Graham Bannon was a right tightwad, paid the bare bloody minimum and still found every possible excuse he could to dock your pay even further. I remember he once docked me a whole $5 for having an unacceptably smelly lunchbox, tight bastard. Anyway, what I'm saying is back then I ate a lot less than I am now, even under rationing. We all did. And let's face it, there are still plenty of people in this country who could afford to lose a little bit of weight.
What are you implying? No, but seriously, Prime Minister, we know you're very busy, but one final question, if I may.
Oh, go on then.
When you get home from a long day, your head full of the territory's hopes and fears, what music do you listen to when you work out to take your mind off things?
Well, I know I've got a bit of a reputation for being an old fuddy-duddy, but I'd be lying if I didn't say there's something about Little C that just demands one's attention.
Well, let's hope you stay watching, Prime Minister, because she is going to be talking and performing live after the break.
Oh, I'll be watching. After all, as my old man used to say, everything's a treat on a boring Friday with nothing but the window you shun.
It's Wednesday, Prime Minister. Peter Clement, thank you for joining me. Are you at home? But I think there's something kind of inspirational there. I know I feel safe. When we come back, Lil C is going to be giving us the debut performance of her new single, and I'll be getting to meet her. As her biggest fan, I don't mind telling you, I'm pretty excited. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back. Ripping stuff.
Was that even news?
I forgot to ask him what his favourite number is.
Oh, I must have
Where did they
forgotten
get
the
these actors?
excitement.
They're pretty good.
So assuming it's not vodka, what do you think's actually in that milk? I reckon it's the tears of his enemies.
You are one disturbed individual.
Okay.
We will not cower or avert our eyes at the sight of injustice, but we are brave.
You'll no doubt have spotted the updated mixing disc. You'll need the new buttons during the next sections. First, we'll need applause when the guest enters, and before her song. Don't worry, I'll walk you through it when we get there.
As a team,
cool.
We have built world-leading scientific and cultural communities. As a team, we have kept our people well fed throughout this war. Because, as a team, we cannot fail to thrive, even in this most challenging of times. And one day, soon now, when this turbulent time is behind us, we will glow. Future.
She was good?
As a team.
The kids go mad for her, absolutely mad.
5 and 10 seconds.
Hang on, Colin, you've got kids.
Yeah, I've got that. Just on the thing.
What?
5, 4, 3.
Thanks for coming back. Later, we have an exciting new feature that we just know you're going to love, so stay tuned for that. But first, I'm really excited for our next guest. She rose to prominence as the delightful Susie May in All My Daughter's Children's before taking the music industry by storm this year with her debut album smashing the chart records at the age of just 20. Let's give it up and welcome Lil C! May I just say, you look incredible.
Oh, thanks, babe. I'm doing this new regime and it really does work.
What's the regime?
My manager suggested it to me. It basically involves bathing in like cabbage water, then having the leaves sucked out of you while you sleep.
Wow, is that healthy?
Well, look at me, Meg. The leaves, my only nourishment.
Yep, they certainly are. Now, you'll have to forgive me, but I'm somewhat of a super fan, so I'm sorry if I get a bit starstruck.
Oh, bless you. I've never actually heard of you before, so if you do get a little tongue-tied, I can always carry the interview.
Oh, that's good to know. So your first album, F My Face together. It hit shelves this summer and it just exploded. I mean, what's that like for you?
Bonkers, just so weird. I was in all the papers and the magazines. Overnight, I went from that like annoying little girl from that show to that like sexy little girl from that show.
Wow, that must have been bizarre.
Not really, it was just like any other morning. You know, get up at 5, go on a 4-mile run, have 3 meetings on my cabbage bath, but then only then was my dad actually talking to me.
Of course, I mean, the famed country singer, Billy Bob Jean Shorts. I didn't know you'd been estranged.
So there's nothing that strange about it, Megan. Okay, yes, he may believe that aliens told him to hate women, but there really isn't anything to prove that he's wrong.
So, this newfound explosion into your popularity, I mean, did that change your life?
Well, I had to start wearing like nicer underwear, you know, for the paparazzi, but as the manager says, best to make the most of it before I'm 30.
Is that right? So what's the album about?
So I thought it was about like how pretty and great I am, but actually it's about monetizing youth, I think, or about like promoting an unrealistic standard of beauty or something.
Your manager again?
Yeah, he says insecurity is an opportunity.
Ooh. Do you think he'd be happy with you telling us all this?
Telling you all what? It really doesn't matter what I say here. I'll do my dancing and then this part will all be forgotten about.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, we're going to see some of those famous dance moves very shortly because you're going to be performing your new single, aren't you?
Yeah, it's from my album Put It In My A Together and it's out tomorrow.
So soon, after the last one?
Oh yeah, I've actually released 2 albums since lunchtime and a clothing line during this interview. So this is called Cry for Help and it's going to be in all the best high street and retailer shops and it's out now. So girlies, you know what to do. Scream and cry until somebody gets it for you.
There she goes. Blimey. All these projects, they're keeping you very busy, aren't they? It must be tough.
Yeah, it can get tough and I hate it sometimes and I hate myself. I just want to like cry into a bath of root veg. But then I think thousands of girls do anything to be me, so I must be quite lucky.
Well, you know you don't have to do this though, don't you?
Yeah, I do think that sometimes. Most nights between like my 4th vodka and the 8th time a stranger slaps me around the arse.
Oh shit.
I don't know. I love doing autographs and having somebody dress me and tell me what to wear.
Did you always want to do music?
Well, ever since I was a little girl I did. I'd sit in front of the radio and as soon as my favourite girl group would come on, I pressed the call in my cassette. And then my dad would come in and tell me to turn it off and to go back upstairs and start practicing again.
Sorry, is your dad your manager?
Yeah, which can be tough. And sometimes when it gets really hard, he'll say, make Crackler proud and you might just survive childbirth.
Well, you know, despite anything, you'll make me proud.
Oh, if only your opinion was as valuable as his.
And on that problematic note, you're going to be singing your song for us soon, aren't you? Tell me about it.
So it's called These Babies Gonna Bring You Home, and I actually got sent the lyrics in the car on the way up here. You know what? It's actually alright. And don't worry, all my work is team approved.
All right then. Well, you can go and get ready for that. We'll see you in a little bit. It was a very specific type of pleasure to chat to her, and I just can't wait to hear this. Whoa, here's Lil C with an exclusive first performance of her new track, These Babies Gonna Bring You Home. Take it away.
It's the force's favorite, the queen of team, here to breaking your blockades. Lil C.
Oh baby, can't you see I'm hungry? There's a place in me that's empty. I want that meat you're packing, only you can feel that crack in me. I'm under siege, so come and free me. Ain't no disruption here, but I got no agenda. Just want the team and me, no dirty foreign member. Don't stop no morning till there's holes in me that ain't been filled yet. I only scream this loud when you do your country proud. I ain't no baker's daughter, come and skirmish on my border. Quick before I get much older, tie me down and hold me like an enemy soldier. my sanctions. I've been this wild and free since Mom unburdened me. She was only 53, but gave you save our family. There's no one judging me if I'm the one that's in your fantasy. Don't die alone, these babies gonna bring you home. I ain't no vicar's daughter, come and skirmish on my border. Quick before I get much older, tie me down and hold me like an enemy soldier. An enemy soldier. Someone repeated Clemens words will come and use me as a tool and flip me over, grab my hair, rip off my clothes and down from there. I wanna see some action, so come and break my sanctions.
Oh.
Well, if that doesn't distract you from the world outside, I don't know what will. I'd like to thank Phil Seathorpe. Well, for doing that, don't go anywhere. After the break, we'll finally be revealing the new segment of our show that we just know you're going to love. We'll be back right after this.
And we're out. Hi, I'm Sophia Remington, and it takes more than an all-night.
There's a hole in me that can't be filled. His gun is too small.
It really means a lot to
That
me.
song was really
To be able
catchy.
to promote myself with such a mainstream platform like the news.
Don't worry about it. And you know what? Good luck for the future. Take care of yourself. This industry can be crazy sometimes. Watch out for that father of yours.
Oh, no. I manage myself. It's just, for the public to have that certain perspective. Like,
Oh, right.
and Michael?
Where's
Michael?
What about the Bob Jean short? Is he?
Oh, my dad. Such a sweetheart. We both have the same agency, like it just made sense. Both got to our image together. And Michael, I want to see the revenue share for the clothing line and get me a G&T before my meeting with the lube guys. For the sake of your pleasure, I'm going to stop eating it.
This next section will need you to use all 4 of the sound effects to help things along. Try and pick the most appropriate one at each given moment. The actors can't hear what you're doing, so they'll be trusting you to make the right choices.
They were exactly 12 as it said in the letter.
Do I look like the sort of person who counts things? No, not anymore. I'm better than that now. I'll tell you what, just keep adding flowers until it feels like. Got it?
Absolutely, right away. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3.
Thanks for joining us for part 3. We've been teasing you about our new feature all night, and now the wait is finally over. I can reveal that every night on the show we'll be treated to an episode of an informative and hilarious new segment called The Notice Board. It stars some top talent and we're very excited about it. But before we see it, let's have a quick chat with the writer, director and phenomenal, may I say, Jeff Algebra, guys!
Actually, I've got I go by Jeff the Toon now. How do you like that?
Yeah,
You colour this
your
hair.
new name now that you're a successful artist.
Well, exactly. I'm earning enough to pay taxes now.
Oh.
I'm earning enough to shit now.
And how does Angela feel about
Shit.
all this? Your wife? Your wife?
Ah! Oh, God, no. No, she's long gone. No, she was holding me back. I'm with Norm now. We were married last month.
Norm de Plume.
Yeah.
And why did you marry? What was your inspiration?
Well, I received a telephone call offering me 25 grand to write a protein sitcom, and I heard my father's voice. It said, Jeff, listen here, Louis. You make hay while the sun shines. You wring every penny you can get out of this.
So I wheeled him down to the transition centre, got out my typewriter and started clacking. Utter shite.
And without further ado, let's give it up for the notice board.
Good morning, Miss Craven.
Oh, morning, Ray.
Everything all right, Mrs. Craven? You look as worried as the vicar in closing time.
Oh, Ray, it's those young louts. They vandalised my shop again. No! Yes!
Oh, I missed that.
All sorts of obscene language and cool pictures, and I know it's those damn youths.
I don't know. It could be the vicar at closing time.
I'm just worried they won't ever become productive members of the community. What if they never see the error of their ways and end up as social outcasts, such as shoplifters or bomb rats?
Don't worry, Mrs. Craven. This is a very supportive community, and I'm sure that in time they will fit into this society like this key into this lock.
Ah.
See? Works like a charm.
What a lovely way to put it, Ray. And just like that, we can unlock their future.
Yeah, yeah. Wow! Look at all the letters in my collection today.
Oh, I think that one's addressed to me.
What? This one? Oh, so you're right. Here it is.
It's a letter from my granddaughter, Brenda. She says she got an A on her maths exam because one of her friends has been helping her. She was always a team player, was our Brenda.
What's up, losers? What's up, losers?
Oh no. It was too quick.
Oh, no! It's Brad! He's the coolest guy in the village!
That's right. I just got here on my motorbike.
Oh, clear off, Brad. We don't want any of your ilk around here.
Randoons.
No, ruffians. Have you come to tag the notice board with your gang signs?
No way. I've actually come to do my resume on that notice board. I'm looking to do some tutoring after school.
What? Did you say tutoring?
That's right. That's right. Would you mind, Ray?
Not at all.
So you, a young person, have been spending your time helping others and not just urinating on churches or huffing glue?
Hey, I haven't huffed glue for months.
Well, blow me down!
You know what? We misjudged you based on how young and cool you are and not on your actions.
No doy.
So it wasn't you who vandalized my shop last night or called me a rancid old crone from the back of a chopper?
No way. It can't have been me. I was too busy helping my friend Brenda with her maths homework.
Could you speak up there?
as a man.
Put her there, Ray. Oh, what the heck? Give us a hug.
Sorry to interrupt the first groundbreaking episode of the notice board, but we're receiving some breaking news. I'm being told we're picking up reports from across the continent of what appear to be nuclear explosions in 4 major foreign cities. Initial estimates put the death toll into the millions. I'm being told that we're experiencing some power fluctuations as a result, so apologies to any interruption to the broadcast for you at home. And now I am told that we are going live to team headquarters for an emergency broadcast from Prime Minister Julia Salisbury at any moment. Yes, let's go to that now.
Good evening, citizens and leaders of the world. Minutes ago, operatives working for Advance detonated nuclear explosives simultaneously in 4 major cities across the continent. We have similar devices in 58 other urban centres and will not hesitate to detonate them if our conditions are not met in full and without delay. The people of our territory will no longer tolerate your illegal and genocidal blockade. You are to remove it immediately. We will accept nothing less than your unconditional surrender. Your territories will be taken under our control. We will install replacement governments to ensure that your citizens become part of the new future. Your borders are now our borders. Your people are our people. They will finally be fed and clothed and educated and healed. But for your privileged few, the moment that they feared is now upon them. Allow me to be crystal clear. If you fire a single shot at our territory, or harm a single one of our citizens, we will not hesitate to detonate further devices. You will not find them, though no doubt you are already searching for them. Our technology is decades ahead of yours. We will expect your complete acceptance of our terms by midnight tonight. Thank you.
Well, okay, so there you have it. Advance making a brave move that looks likely to end the war in this, its 20th week. There's a lot to take in here, and I know you, like me, will be wondering if this is too much. We've gone too far. But I'm thinking of our sick and ill, denied their medicines. Children with no food on their plates and body bags returning from the front line. And I ask myself if without some big, bold gesture it would ever stop, and I do not think it ever would. We elected Advance to make this country better for us all, and it was working. But then the rest of the world looked at us and they said this cannot be seen to succeed. And they brought their warships, and their tanks and their planes just to make sure that we were instead seen to suffer. To make sure no one anywhere would ever attempt this again. So, to my mind, our government have taken the only path available to them. A difficult decision for their hearts to bear, but one that ultimately we can respect, because it is designed to keep us safe. And while this is unquestionably a dark night, It may indeed presage the dawn of a new future. My name's Megan Wolf. Let's make tomorrow better.
And we're out.
Do you ever get the feeling that you're making history?
Let's make tomorrow better. D for the first sequence, really. Okay, I've gone to 3 broadcasts. Oh. This is great. She was holding you back. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, first time he showed up in the studio, I think he was he? I'm not sure he was with his wife, but he was like this goofy math teacher. And then now with the new government, he was able to escalate his career. It's pretty funny. But anyway, wow, I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. Yeah. But each broadcast actually can last up to like half an hour or something. So
Good evening, I'm Megan Wolf.
I'm Jeremy Johnson. I'll make headlines tonight.
I'm not even sure how close we're to finishing the game. And then there are different things that you can do that will alter the story. So this game is pretty good. You know, after you try to finish it, I'll probably play it again one more time to see how things would go if you help out the resistance. But thanks for being here, Leon. I'll be back a little later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Bye bye bye.